Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll just give it a couple of more minutes to allow a few more people to join, and then we'll get started. In the meantime, we've just launched a quick poll, so feel free to put your vote while we're waiting. Let me know if you can see the poll as well. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for another session in our AI webinar series. We're excited to have you with us today. Today's session is all about Microsoft Copilot Cowork, which is Microsoft's newest AI experience that is helping shape the next generation of work. Today, we'll be exploring why AI is moving beyond assistance, what Microsoft Copilot Cowork is, what can it do for you, and how it compares to other AI tools. Before we get started, I also want to mention that we'll be doing a live raffle at the end, so make sure to stay with us until the end for your chance to win. And okay, so now I'm very pleased to introduce Ashley Evans. Just a second here. Ashley is a sales leader at Microsoft, specializing in AI business solutions for small and medium Canadian businesses. She works closely with Microsoft distributors and partner community to help organizations adopt Microsoft Copilot, enable AI across their businesses, and drive meaningful business transformation. With a strong focus on practical hands-on learning, Ashley delivers sessions that translate complex concepts into real-world value. Ashley, thank you again for being here with us, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Angela. I'm happy to be here. Give me a sec while I bring up my presentation, and maybe Angela, you can just give me a thumbs up once you see it.
Yeah.
I've got some videos in here, so it might take a sec.
We can also mention about the poll results. 26% say, yes, I'm already using it, and 68% said, I've heard of it, but haven't tried it.
That's great. So I know I'm one of the 5. So the 4 others of you on the call, feel free to share your experiences with it as we go through the presentation today. Everybody has their own unique story about how they're using AI in general, but in particular, tools like Cowork are getting a lot of headlines right now. So share your learnings. I'd love to hear how things are going. And of course, we'll save some time at the end to answer any questions that you have. And if there's anything that I can't get to, if it's beyond my existing knowledge, I will be sure to get back to the either Angela or through the Q&A. I'll make sure that I get answers to all of your questions. So we're here today to talk about Copilot Cowork. I think I'll start off with just giving a little bit of context of why. So why tools like Cowork are so popular right now, what Cowork actually is. I'm going to go through a couple of examples of what it can do for you through some video demos that I've put together. And then we'll talk a little bit at the end about the pricing model, as well as how you think about how Copilot Cowork stacks up against some of these other agent orchestration type tools. Okay, so just onto the context, the why. So up until recently, you can think about typical AI use or typical AI users as being using AI as simply like a chat interface. So whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT, you've been using it to do simple tasks like summarize a document, research a topic, or create like a single output, like a PowerPoint presentation, a Word document, or an email response. But what we're really seeing now is that the customer demand out there is shifting from these kind of single turn assistant use cases towards the need for more systems that manage multi-step workflows across different artifacts, tools, processes, and skills. So we see this most evident in the rise of such tools like Claude Cowork, OpenClaw, and in fact, Microsoft Copilot Cowork is powered by Claude Cowork or Anthropic models in the background. We've just brought it to you in the M365 ecosystem. So you can think of it as Copilot chat or your AI chat assistant assists in the moment. It's kind of doing things for you on the fly, single task, almost like you're using a single specialist or assistant. Whereas Copilot Cowork takes actions and not just responding to chat. It actually can look at the outcome that you want and plan tasks, reason over different tools and files, keeps moving over time, and it actually orchestrates all of this on your behalf and keeps you in the loop along the way. And it'll come a little bit more real to you once you see some of these demos and we talk through a little bit more of the use cases. So that's really the context of it. It's delegating real work, not just responding to prompts. And this is the heart of like that beyond the assistant, beyond the chatbot phenomenon. Three shifts are kind of happening that we are seeing in work. And it really moves you up a level and your interaction with AI up a level from doing to kind of directing, overseeing, and orchestrating while staying in control and in the loop along the way. The first shift is this cognitive shift. So we're moving from treating a single AI use like an individual contributor or a specialist that's doing a specific job, elevating that cognition or that cognitive skills that we delegate to AI to managing all up projects and handing off tasks as you would if you were a manager. The second is kind of a orchestrator shift or an orchestration shift. So this is where we're moving from juggling AI use in different applications and systems to concentrating more on what the desired outcome it is and leaving that orchestration to tools like Copilot Cowork, leaving the job to them to work across all the different apps and systems that you have. And the third is that action shift. So I talked about this already, but using AI for advice, instead of using AI for acting, like asking for advice or acting for you for a single task, it's really letting Copilot autonomously complete tasks for you while staying in the loop along the way. And so Oh, I have two of the same slides. Let's go over to here. So what is Copilot Cowork? And I'm just gonna talk a little bit to the IT stakeholders in the room because there's probably some of you, the 13 of you that have heard of it but haven't tried it, might be using another tool like Copilot Cowork, such as Claude Cowork. And so the fact that M365 Copilot is built on trust is a key differentiator for us. And what I mean by that is we have four main commitments. Number one is when you're using Cowork, we're securing your data at rest and in transit. So Copilot Cowork, much like Copilot, it'll operate inside the M365 security boundary. So your data that you're using your AI tools with is encrypted both when it's stored as well as when it's moving across the network. Microsoft also provides tenant isolation, physical security controls, as well as enterprise data protection. So what this ultimately means is that customers' content remains protected throughout the entire AI workflow and it's actually not leaving the trust boundary within that customer's tenant. So you control your data. The data is not being used to train or enrich any of the foundation models in the background. And also you're protected against AI security and copyright risks. So Cowork, much like Copilot, inherits the user's permissions, respects sensitivity labels, and is governed by tools like Microsoft Purview to help with things like e-discovery, data loss prevention, and data security posture management. So essentially, all of the amazing tools that we have to secure and govern your data estate is brought to life in Cowork as well. It runs in a protected sandbox cloud environment and users approve all of the actions that Cowork is doing along the way, and actions can be undone. You can also manage Cowork for your organization within the M365 Admin Center. So you can have close control over who's accessing it, how they're using it, to what extent they're using it, and most importantly, what it's costing. And I'll get to that in a second. So I think the best way to articulate what Copilot Cowork can do for you is to show you some of these examples in action. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you three examples. One is using Cowork to help prepare for an upcoming customer meeting. So you're going to see how it will pull and reason over different artifacts, and it will come up with a plan for you for that customer meeting. I'll show you an example of how you can use it to clean up your calendar. So you're going to see things like helping you prioritize your inbox, as well as doing automatically drafting responses for you. And then the last example is using Cowork to do some financial research, and you'll see how it's going to go over different file formats to come up with a very robust analysis. So I have a couple of these that I'm going to show you. The first one I'll kick off with is the customer meeting preparation. And Angela, if for whatever reason we have issues with audio, just pipe up and let me know, okay? So that was our first example, and you could see that it started with a simple prompt, asking it to prepare for an upcoming meeting. You could see that because M365 Copilot and Cowork is actually connected to that organization's data, it has access to all of that rich information that exists in the M365 tenant. It was able to reason over all of those documents, and also access applications like Outlook, PowerPoint, and actually create these artifacts, multiple artifacts at a time, all in a matter of minutes. The second example is how you can use a tool like Cowork to triage and clean up your calendar. What I love about that demo too is it shows you how it surfaces draft emails right in the chat pane. And what that does is it allows for the elimination of what we call context switching, which is toggling from app to app to app to app to get your work done. With Cowork, you can do everything within the Copilot Cowork interface without having to deal with that context switching. And again, it started with a clean up your calendar exercise, and it ended up in, developing a briefing document. So you can interact with it iteratively and have it perform new tasks depending on what your needs are. And this last example is one where it's researching some company financials for a financial analyst exercise. And so what I love about that demo too is that it shows you how Cowork will actually keep you informed along the way of the types of activities and analysis it's performing. So it's very transparent about the work that it's going through. And you can see over on the right-hand side as you're interacting with it, where it is in the overall progress. The other cool thing, so those were three examples of use cases. Let's say, for example, you found a use case that's extremely repeatable. So say it's researching these company financials. Say you want to apply that exact same skill to another company moving forward. What you could do is save that input that you put into Cowork as what's called a skill or an MD file that you can then use in the future. So you can create almost like a collection of quote unquote skills that you can call on from Cowork to help with more of those repeatable scenarios that you have. And I apologize, I don't know why this is called appendix, but the number one question that you're gonna probably get or ask yourself after seeing this and playing around with the tool a little bit is, well, I already have Copilot Chat, or I already have Copilot, or I already have another AI tool that I'm using. Which one do I use and when? This is a very common question we're getting, especially now that we have what's called these consumption-based AI tools. And so simply put, the way to think about it is a tool like Copilot Chat. This is really your chat tool that you're going to use for fast single session help. So think draft, summarize, brainstorm, general question and answer conversations that you have with with an AI chatbot, taking something that might take minutes down into seconds. And then think about using Copilot in the app or in the M365 apps to be very useful when you are interacting with AI within the context of a single application or a single document. So think about drafting a Word document, modifying or editing a Word document. Similarly, you are doing an Excel analysis and using Copilot in Excel to do that analysis within that specific application. That's a fantastic use case for the M365 Copilot application versus something like Cowork. Um, Cowork is really that AI tool that's going to help you get work across multiple applications, multiple documents, multiple artifacts. It's going to complete end to end. So think of a tool that you would use to take something that's going to take you hours or an hour or more and putting that down to a couple of minutes. Okay. And then we have a tool that is in Frontier, our Frontier program right now, and it's called Microsoft Scout. I'm putting it here not to dilute our conversation about Copilot Cowork right now, but it is an extension of sort of this multi-step orchestration type AI that we're bringing to market. And Scout is really good at being sort of an AI agent that is always on. It's proactively moving work forward, even without asking you. It's doing it autonomously, and it also can do very powerful things directly on your local PC. Okay, so you think about chat as being sort of the entry level, least sophisticated in terms of agentic and autonomy, moving all the way over to tools like Microsoft Scout that are highly autonomous and can also orchestrate on your local PC. And this what to use when question is super important right now because more complex workflows like the ones that we delegated to Cowork in those videos are coming with consumption charges. So FinOps and operating expenses around AI will become an important consideration here when you're training your users and building plans to adopt this type of technology in your organization. And I'll get to the cost model right now. Okay, so Cowork is essentially Microsoft Copilot licensing is still kind of the starting point that gives you entitlement to use a tool like Cowork. The Copilot license in and of itself is super powerful as a standalone option. It gives users access to the core M365 AI experiences that we pretty much use every day. Things like summarizing, drafting, analyzing, helping us move fast and forward in our regular day work. It has access to all of it information that's on our M365 tenant, so it's highly intelligent in the context of our organization. But with this change that AI is starting to do more than assist individuals in the moment within a single app, with agents and more advanced workflows, Copilot can now take on these really complex, longer running tasks and execute work across different systems. And that's where the usage-based billing comes in. It's when AI is doing more of these complex or automated work, and the cost is tied to the amount of work that's being performed in the form of Copilot credits. Okay, so the shift is really from paying just for access to paying for outcomes from really complex workflows. And it's really that the value of the work that AI is completing on behalf of the user or the customer. So like I said, the currency for this usage-based billing in the Copilot world or the M365 world is known as Copilot credits. And I will put in the chat here, because I know what everyone's thinking, how much is this thing going to cost? I will put in the chat a tool that you can use if you're thinking about, okay, well, if I'm going to empower some of my users with Cowork, what are the types of costs we're looking at? There is a Cowork cost estimator that I'm going to put in the chat right now. Okay, and like I said, it's charged in the form of Copilot credits. It's highly dependent on the context it's reasoning over, the tools it's calling on, the skills, as well as sort of the level of complexity of the task at hand. But you can think of a rule of thumb being a pretty simple Cowork task is going to run you about 125 credits, which is $1.25, to a very complex Cowork task, which is multiple steps, multiple documents, very extensive context, may run you up to 1,200 credits, which is about $12. Okay, so that's a really broad range and a very standard estimate. But I encourage you to take a look at that Cowork estimator. And as well, if you are one of those 5 users on the phone right now that are actually using it, pro tip is once you've done a task in your Cowork window, type /cost, and it will give you an idea of how many credits that particular task consumed. Okay. And of course, once usage-based pricing is in place, your priority as a business leader quickly becomes, okay, how do I manage this and stay on top of my organization's spending? And so we've implemented and come out with a cost management dashboard in the M365 Admin Center that can help you do just that. It gives administrators sort of this single place within the Admin Center to monitor, control, and manage Copilot credits across the organization. And so you can think of this as 3 things are happening. First is the monitoring, so you can track usage. You can understand how quickly credits are being consumed. You can see trending over time. This gives you a clear view into who's using it, how they're using it, and where usage is really getting accelerated. Maybe you have some, we call them token maxers here at Microsoft that are, driving 90% of the organization's cowork budget. This is where you can actually go and see what's going on. The second is the configuration controls. So you can set limits at a user or a user group level, known as policies. So you're going to want to control how much can be sent, how much can be spent per user or per group. You can, this way you can prevent overages, unexpected overages. You can set up alerts so that you get alerted when a user or user group is getting close to their overall spending. And then lastly, there's the purchase and allocation controls. So this is where you, as an admin, can go and buy additional Copilot credits. You can manage how they're distributed. You can also field requests from end users within the organization to get additional credits. So the key takeaway here is that, yes, there is usage-based AI now. Microsoft is not the only vendor out there that is doing it, is quickly becoming the common currency for artificial intelligence and agentic AI, but it doesn't come at the expense of control. Everything is centralized in this solution in one place with the tools that IT needs to monitor usage, enforce all of those guardrails, and have a really scalable way to manage it across the organization. So I want to just take a minute to frame the question maybe you're thinking about, which is like, why Cowork versus these other AI tools out there? There's a lot out there right now. I would say Claude Cowork is probably the one that comes to mind for most when they think about how to evaluate this versus other options right there. But Copilot Cowork is actually powered by Anthropic's Claude Cowork models. So we actually worked closely with Anthropic to bring Copilot Cowork to the Microsoft 365 Copilot suite of products. So the difference between this and a tool like Claude Cowork isn't the model per se, it's kind of everything that's wrapped around it. So unlike a solution that's a standalone AI desktop agent, like Claude Cowork that reads files off of a local hard drive, and it sits on your PC, Copilot Cowork is actually cloud native. So it runs inside your governed M365 tenant. Okay, that's number one. The number two is, which makes it stand out, is it's grounded in what we call work IQ. And work IQ is really just the fancy term for that rich organizational context that a tool like Copilot has because it's natively built into M365. So it has a lot of that context that AI needs to perform efficiently built right in there. So it's very, very efficient at getting that organizational intelligence that you want fed into your prompts and your tasks. Okay. It has enterprise-grade security, permissions, sensitivity labels, audit controls, and then, of course, those usage-based cost controls built in. Okay, so all of the existing security tools that you have in place on M365, as well as your information protection policies and sensitivity labels, Copilot and Copilot Cowork respects all of that and keeps everything secure within your M365 tenant. Lastly, what makes it stand out is that, yes, it was built in collaboration with Anthropic. It has access to Anthropic models, but it is multi-model at the heart of it. And that's a statement I can make not only for Cowork, but also Copilot. So day in and day out, we're working hard to test and validate new large language models to bring to tools like Copilot Cowork. And so you will be able to either, number one, choose the LLM that you want to work with, that you know is going to give you the best output, or you can allow Copilot to choose the model that works best for you. And by the way, it's going to also consider efficiency in that equation. So again, this becomes very important when we start to think about FinOps and usage-based billing. You want to make sure you're not using the craziest models out there or to do something that maybe a lighter model could handle. The fact that we have an array of different models built into tools like Cowork allows Cowork to pick the most efficient model for the task that it's being asked to do. Okay, so those are just kind of considerations when you're looking to evaluate all of the different tools out there. It really comes down to those three things. Cowork is cloud native, so it's running in the background even when you're not booted up on your PC. At the same time, it's also running securely inside your M365 tenant. It has access to your organizational context natively and not through things like plugins, which can be really good at accessing different applications and different data, but putting it all together within the context of your organization is something that's unique to Microsoft. And then lastly, that multi-model approach that we've adopted across the board. So that is all I had for now. What I've done here is given you just 3 links to take a peek at. One thing to note is have no fear, Cowork is off by default. If you want to start dabbling with it in your organization, you would go work with your admin to set it up and also set up that usage-based billing. I have some documents in here for you to look at. The first one is an overview. The second link, Managing Copilot Cowork for Your Organization, gives you an in-depth look into how to manage that usage-based billing and also the different cost and consumption controls within the M365 Admin Center. And lastly, if you want to just experiment with what this could potentially look like in terms of an investment for you, for your power users, that Copilot Cowork cost estimator is there at the end for you to take a look at. And so I'm going to pause now. Angela, I think we have a few minutes for Q&A, and you had some material that you wanted to take your customers through from Tecnet, but I'll pause here to make sure I'm not completely off base on our timing. You're on mute.
Yes, sorry. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your expertise with us today. We're good in time, so I hope everyone found it valuable. We're now going to move into our live Q&A. If you have any questions, please drop them into the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can over the next few minutes. Check.
And of course, if nobody has questions, also, we're always interested in hearing feedback, what your real life customer experiences with Cowork, good or bad. Feel free to either drop me a line, put it into the Q&A or the chat. I would love to hear how you were finding your experience with Cowork.
Okay, let's wait for one more minute and see if we have any questions or comments. Everything is welcome.
Everyone's in July mode, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's fine. We're almost at the end of today's session. But before we announce our raffle winners, I would like to take just a minute to share how we can help organizations continue their AI journey. As you've seen throughout today's session, Microsoft Copilot Cowork represents a new generation of AI that's designed to do more than simply answer questions. It can actively help your teams complete work, streamline processes, and improve productivity. And at Tecnet, we help organizations move from learning about AI to successfully adopting it in their day-to-day operations. So whether you're looking to identify where AI can create the most value in your organization or interested in building AI agents tailored to your business, our team can help you guide through every step, from the strategy and planning to implementation, training, and adoption. So if today's session sparked ideas for your organization, we're launching a poll right now, so you can let us know if you're interested in learning more, and we would love to continue the conversation. And it's time for our raffle. Just want to be respectful with everyone's time. Just gonna quickly share my screen. We'll be giving away two $30 Starbucks gift cards to two attendees who join us today. So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Angela, there's a question just in the chat from Ryan, and it's a great one. Is who
Oh, sorry.
who gets
Yes, please.
who gets the request for credits? So if a user's in Cowork and they want to request credits, who actually gets that? I'll do a double check. It's either the AI administrator for your organization or the billing administrator. So someone who has admin rights on the M365 admin center will receive that request and be able to approve and allocate budget. It's either one of those two roles, AI administrator or billing administrator. And while Angela's doing the raffle, I'll determine which one it is.
Okay. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, perfect. We have Eunice MacCharles and Eric Metcalf. Please raise your hand if you are with us right now. Nice, I see Eunice. Perfect, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be reaching out soon, and stay tuned because we'll be sending a follow-up email with a handout and a recording. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us. Have a
Thank
great
you. Thanks for
rest of
having
your
me. It
day,
was great.
everyone.
Oh, there seems to be a hand up.
Yeah, for the people that won.
Oh, sorry. I was looking up administrators.